Hey y'all, Moses here. Today I'm going to be going over the top 5 most anticipated changes coming in the September, or what we hope will be the September content patch for PUBG. Now there's lots to talk about, but first I want to say thank you to Skins.cash, who is the sponsor for today's video. Skins.cash is a skins marketplace where you can instantly sell your CSGO, Dota, and PUBG skins and get paid immediately. Skins.cash uses a variety of payment methods, has a huge amount of positive ratings on sites like Trustpilot, and is by far the simplest and fastest way to get rid of unwanted skins. If you use the referral link down below, you'll get a 3% bonus on all your sales. So if you're trying to offload your vast collection of skirts, or if the Banana Man lifestyle just isn't for you, head to skins.cash and get paid today. The first thing I want to talk about are the first-person leaderboards and worldwide availability. Now this thing is getting a little bit tired, but believe it or not, the first-person game mode is still not available for the Oceanic and other parts of the world as far as regions are concerned. On top of that, the first-person leaderboards have not been launched. Just last night or the day before, we got notice that the leaderboards were going to be reset, signifying the beginning of a new season. And a lot of players asked if the first-person leaderboards were going to be included, and they were not. So the issue here is that you have all these players queuing together of various skill levels, which is fine. But for those looking to understand how they're playing, you have no real rank to kind of judge your progress as a player. Now, me personally, I've been winning a fair amount of games, but I would like to know where I kind of stack up with other players. Beyond that, the matchmaking benefits of a leaderboard system would allow some better competition, because you'd be playing against players in your ranking band, whatever that might be. So hopefully for September, we'll be able to see the first-person leaderboards get launched and to have everyone have access to this game mode. The second thing I want to talk about is probably the most talked about change, and that is the vaulting and climbing update. Now, we recently saw a video just before or during Gamescom showing off the vaulting in the game engine, showing Tuner Dev or whoever was running around jumping up on walls, and we saw an in-game snippet as well, people jumping on rocks. I believe it was near one of the small coastal towns. Either way, the vaulting and climbing update is the most hotly anticipated change, and there's a lot that goes into that. I think there's going to be some changes to the map to make it so players can't get to certain areas that would be, too much of an advantage. So I think that the logistical deployment of the vaulting and climbing update is a lot heavier than a lot of us kind of understand. And I understand why it's taken so long to get into the game, but it's been teased for so long that, man, I think it's time to see it. So hopefully we can get that into the September patch and we can get our hands on it, because it's going to require a lot of playtesting to work out the bugs. And I think that the vaulting and climbing update is going to bring about a lot of pain, as well as the fun of being able to jump and climb on stuff. The next thing I want to talk about is grenade changes. Now, this is something I've been looking forward to for quite some time. Now, if you remember, prior to the launch of the most recent content patch, a developer mentioned that the grenade overhaul would be targeted for the upcoming content patch. So I believe that was aimed at August, but now that we're in September, that's something that I would imagine would be coming relatively soon, because this has been kicked around for a little while. So just yesterday, Amir TV on the who's a dev mentioned on the PUBG subreddit that the grenade overhaul is on the way, but there is no ETA. So they're reworking the entire system to enable more responsiveness, get a more accurate draw of where the grenades will land, and have more versatility with the grenades in terms of how far they can be thrown, as the new system will take into account velocity of the person moving and the motion that the player is making. So just to kind of clarify what that means, essentially, in other games, you can sprint and jump and throw a grenade really far rather than just standing still and throwing it, which currently in PUBG, it doesn't matter how you're moving, what your direction of travel is, where you aim the grenade, other than up or down, it kind of lands within this predictable cone around the player, and getting better distance is not something we can do. On top of that, the more accurate draw of where the grenade will land is super important. I mean, we've all had grenades bounce off of stuff when, throwing them under trees or out of windows or into windows. Really anywhere, grenades are pretty unpredictable. So looking forward to some accuracy improvements there as well. And, maybe some indicators as to how a grenade will bounce if you can, aim the draw at a window or at a wall. Maybe it'll give you some indicator as to how it'll bounce. That would be interesting too. I'd like to see flashbangs get a little bit of love. I think flashbangs are
kind of a table decoration right now. So I'd like to see, you know, flashbangs get reworked or improved to a point where they're actually usable. But, you know, a lot of these are big asks from a developer, and it takes a lot of time to get those systems right. And then as far as the responsiveness goes, I just want to be able to get my grenades out faster and throw them faster and, you know, not have it be super clunky like it is right now. So hopefully we'll see some of this stuff coming up in this patch, but I'm looking forward to that change probably the most. The next change is mainly based around the most recent invitational tournament, and that is spectating changes. The current spectating system is bad, just overall. We saw a lot of tweets coming out from some of the observers kind of trying to defend themselves during the invitational, saying that the spectating system was super laggy. It took 3 to 4 seconds to switch perspectives, and just getting around the map required a ton of manpower and effort, and even then, the first day was really rough. So I'm not coming down on the spectators, or sorry, the guys who are handling the spectating system during the invitational, but it really underlined something that is holding PUBG back from being an observable esport, which is a decent spectating system. Now, around the spectating system is something that I've been hoping for, which is a demo system. The ability to record rounds and, you know, similar to CSGO again, or some other games that have the ability to play back demos. StarCraft 2 comes to mind, but the ability to review demos would be great from a tactical perspective, a content creation standpoint, and Playerunknowns has talked about the the 3D replay system and the 2D replay system, both of which would be, you know, huge tools for players looking to take their game to the next level, and for teams that exist to kind of review their tournament play on things like PUBG Online, that kind of stuff. And the fifth one is, you know, the simple but probably still the most important, and that is client optimizations and new weapons. Client optimization is something that still affects a ton of players who don't have super high-end systems. That's something that I get on my my videos from a comment standpoint all the time, is about how to get the most juice out of your current rig. So client optimizations are still a huge issue in the game, and getting the game to a point where it can run on a majority of machines. Now, something we always want to see are new weapons. Now, again, in the same post last night, the PUBG dev Amir TV mentioned some things regarding the weapons system, which is still in the same ballpark, so bear with me. So basically, he mentioned that a ballistics update for weapons is ongoing, and that will include better weapon physics, improved bullet travel, improved bullet drop, and bullet penetration. So that would be bullet penetration in water, wood, different textures, etc. So that's a huge change, because, well, I mean, shooting people in water is currently impossible, so that's a big deal. And on top of that, I would like to be able to shoot through doors and, you know, through bars and windows or fences, you know, that kind of stuff. The stuff that is just super annoying, but isn't quite the most important thing to change right away. On top of that, he did mention removing certain weapons from the crates. He only mentioned specifically currently the Tommy gun is going to be coming out of the crates. Now, that was confirmed in a video. If I can find it, I'll link it. But either way, the dev mentions that they're taking the Tommy gun out of the crates, and it's going to have a 30-round magazine and might take some other attachments as well. That wasn't confirmed, but essentially the Tommy gun is coming out of the crates. They must have a ton of data showing that people just leave it behind all the time. So having that in the world will be nice from a SMG standpoint. Having that as an option will be awesome. But you know, he did say certain weapons, so I would hope that they would look at the Mark 14 and the Kar 98, because I think that the Kar 98 doesn't belong in the crate. And the Mark 14 to an extent as well. It offers a very slight benefit over the SKS. I don't think it's enough to have it in the crate. Now, it isn't a situation where it has to be equal to the SKS, but you should be able to make a choice based on individual strengths. Now, the SKS has its strengths as far as attachments, and the Mark 18 can stay the same and get the slight damage bonus that you get, as well as the slight velocity bonus, but without the stability that you can get with the SKS. It just makes sense to take the Mark 14 out. So as far as the rest goes, there's nothing else that I've seen outside of UI improvements and stuff. They did mention that they're going to be removing the crouch jump bug, but I imagine that'll come along with the vaulting update. So hopefully they'll let us keep crouch jumping until then. I'm interested to hear what you guys want, what you think of this this little bit of news we've had, and what you want to see in the next patch. What are your priorities? What do you want to see the most? So head down to the comments section and leave us a comment. And of course, come check me out on Twitch at twitch.tv/wtfmoses and on Twitter at wtfmoses. So hopefully we can see this patch within the next couple of weeks, or at least this month, but I'll be keeping you updated. So until next time, I'll see you out there.